So before you embark on this kind of low-code journey, my advice would be try to create some sort of structure in terms of who does what. Yeah. So especially for large company like us, we have 100,000 user. Uh, IT department itself is about 3,000 people across the world. 3% of the company. To me, is fairly large, right? So you need to have clarity in terms of who does what, right, inside IT as well as outside IT. So what we did in the CIO, our CIO came up with this thing. It's called the 5 layers of digital execution. We we are a SAP uh, E- ERP SAP ERP implementation that we spend significant amount of investment and took us about 7 years to implement. So he realized that, hey, this is a huge investment. We need to protect that. And we tend, we've been engineer, we tend to customize things too much, right? Up to a point that we cannot upgrade ourselves. So he said, okay, let's minimize the customization in SAP. But at the same time, we know that SAP cannot address all the business processes that we have. So what do? We create a layer of a layer of people they call digital products. These are people who look into specific workflow that SAP has a gap. And from there, we start building full stack pro code kind of solution on top of SAP. Usually, it's a global solution for all business unit, business line, and it takes about 1 to 2 years to build. Right? It's supposed to last a bit long, 5 to 7 years. And these are all central IT capability. So the CIO see that that's great, right? But then he also being bombarded by the business and say, hey, 1 to 2 years to build a product is too long. Sometimes it's just small problems and I want to solve right now, right? If you use 1 to 2 years to turn around, the problem might have already disappeared. So those are the smaller problems. So what do? We say, okay, let's create a layer on top of a layer of capability, make out of different technology stack capability. We call it the studio. So these are mobile solution, BI analytic, automation, collaboration, right? And those are the few mentioned capability, and they are aiming to turn things around, churn out solution within 3 to 6 months. And these are all IT, right? So the business come in to us and say, hey, I have this problem. I need this solved in 6 months time. How much would it cost? Okay, we tell them, okay, it's $50,000 to build this little app, and you will have it in 3 months time. Fine. Then the business bring the money in, we build it, we cross-charge the solution. This is all good. Then he said, okay, now we solve the agility, right? So we have a 3 to 6 month agility. However, these are all centralized capability in IT, right? We have a centralized software house in India as well as in Colombia and Houston. So with that, he saw another problem. We say that being centralized, yes, we are highly efficient. However, we lack visibility to the fire on the ground in operation. So, which also means that we are very distant away from the real problems. Our understanding of the problem is not as good as someone that is right next to the fire. So then he said, okay, why not we bring this capability to solve each problem, challenges, business challenges to the field? That is when we start this decentralized IT. We say, okay, in the business unit, we go to train them with some sort of a digital capability using low code and say, these are the people who are dedicated to do digital solutioning, but they belong to the business. They could be HR people, it could be a supply chain guy, it could be a finance person. They each have their own digital cell, making up of anything between 1 to 5 people per group. We get them trained, get them certified in Power Platform. And then because they are sitting right next to their business, they see the day-to-day problem and they solve it using those tools that they have. They have the same capability, but now the big difference is they bring in innovation. Right? They are now able to solve the problem that meet the business needs very, very closely. Right? And they have the ability to run a few iterations between their business without the need for IT to get involved. So that shortened a lot of the development cycle. And then at the end of the chain is what we call the self-service. These are anybody in the company who wants to use a tool. We say you're welcome to do so. However, these are not dedicated people. These are people who have a day job, right? But they're using our platform to improve their business workflow, their productivity workflow, right? So with this, we have been practicing these 5 layers of digital exhibition for more than 5 years now, and it has been adopted in Microsoft Power Platform Adoption Best Practices. You can find the write-up in Microsoft documentation, and there's also a Gartner white paper on this about us. So I was uh, taking care of these 3 layers, getting them to work together, and also championing the adoption and the be the ambassador for the platform for these 3 layers.